HARK, we are here. It is time for yet another episode of Star Wars Unlimited. This week, we're going over the Twin Suns multiplayer rules. That'll be in the next segment. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the Star Wars Unlimited Community Celebration that I'm sure you've heard a lot about from other people, including a little bit from myself in previous videos over the last week. You'll notice that my video uptick has gone as I've done a starter deck preview, all the remainder of the previews that were left over from the celebration, my sealed packs, a game of sealed that I did with Matt from comicbook.com. The next video you're going to see after this is going to be my draft deck and draft games against John Leo, one of the designers and one of the primary workers, I believe, on the Twin Suns format. So that's very cool. I might be wrong about that. Correct me if you need to in the comments. We'll go over a little bit about what I did there, what was fun, who I talked to, the conversations I had, the faith I have in this game as a result of that, which you guys pretty much already knew that I was all in before. But after the celebrational, my all in has just more L's in the all. So not losses, but just all in. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. Anyway, so we'll get right into that Twin Suns multiplayer stuff and then the celebration afterwards. On Saturday, February 10th, FFG put out their Star Wars Unlimited Community Celebration. You've already seen a couple of videos of me going over some of the stuff that happened. We'll talk more about it later. But during that stream, the very beginning of it, they introduced the Twin Suns multiplayer format for Star Wars Unlimited, which was really cool. On Wednesday, February 14th, they actually dropped another stream going over the same rules, but showcasing another 4-player Twin Suns game featuring, I believe, Xander, Ryan, Joe, and John. And they also dropped a Twin Suns article over on the Star Wars Unlimited website. So we're going to go over the article. I do encourage you all to go watch at least the beginning of the community celebration and this specific stream. I will link both of them in the description below. Sorry if I'm out of air, because those have some really cool games. And the second game on the 14th had a very surprising outcome, one I was not expecting. But going over this article here real quick, it says here, there are many different ways to play Star Wars Unlimited. Just last month, we talked about limited formats, draft and sealed. Back in November, we talked about constructed, which we're now calling Premier. And today we want to take another look at another constructed multiplayer format, Twin Suns. You're going to have more than 2 people at the table. You generally want 4 people total. You can go up, but the games get longer. You can go to 3, but it's 3-player. Twin Suns is realistically best played as a 1v1v1v1 4-player format. A couple major differences here are when playing a game of Star Wars Unlimited with more than 2 players, there are a few important changes to the rules. Twin Suns introduces 2 additional counters to the game, the blast counter and the plan counter. The blast counter is red and the plan counter is blue. The take the initiative action is replaced with the take an available counter action, which allows you to claim any of the 3 counters, initiative, blast, or plan, that haven't already been claimed by another player. Just like the take the initiative action from the normal rules, taking an available counter means you automatically pass for the rest of your turns. So if you take the blast counter, you can no longer take any other actions for the remainder of that round. If you take the plan counter, same thing. If you take the initiative counter, same thing. So what do the blast and plan counters do? If you claim the blast counter, you immediately deal 1 damage to each of your opponent's bases. If you claim the plan counter, you immediately draw a card, then take a card from your hand and place it at the bottom of your deck. Both of these counters provide a bit of extra strategy during gameplay and also make the choice of when to claim a counter matter even after someone takes the initiative. In both of those games, I'm pretty sure I saw multiple times somebody take the blast or plan counter before the initiative counter was taken. So there is some strategy of passing the initiative, especially if you know somebody else is going to get it and you're going to be like next in line, or your place in the initiative doesn't really matter as a result of that. Speaking of initiative, the player with the initiative still takes the first action each round during a multiplayer game. After that, players take their turns in a clockwise order. The actions can take during your turn are largely the same as a head-to-head game, with 2 major exceptions. The first is the take of an available counter action, which we've talked about, and the other is you cannot pass until you have no other legal actions to take on your turn. That means you must perform an action that changes the game state every turn until you either claim a counter or run out of things to do. That means you have to play cards from your hand, you have to use your leader abilities, you have to attack with your characters, you have to use actions on your cards in order to be able to do this. This doesn't require you to use your epic action, and if all the other players have taken the counters, the initiative, plan, and blast counter, you do not have to keep taking actions until you've run out of things to do. You can choose to pass at that point at any point in time if you want, and then you go on to the next round. In a Twin Suns game, once a player's base has been reduced to 0 HP, that player is eliminated and cannot take any more actions. The player who eliminated them, such as dealing the last bit of damage to their base, immediately heals 5 damage from their own base. At that point, the game continues until the end of the current phase. At the end of that phase, after any lingering card abilities are resolved, the player with the most HP remaining on their base wins the game. This is a really cool multiplayer rule that some other games should probably adopt at a certain point, because there have been big multiplayer games where the first person gets knocked out in 15 minutes, and then 45 minutes later, the other 3 players are still playing. This guarantees that once the first player ends within the next 5 or 10 minutes, the game will end and you can go on to the next Twin Suns game. This is one of the huge things that the designers have done with Star Wars Unlimited that I believe is designed to, 1, make the play experience better for everybody involved, but 2, they know they have to respect the time of the players at the table, and I think that's fantastic. Besides having adjusted gameplay rules, Twin Suns also stands apart from the Premier format by having drastically different deck building requirements, and this is where the true fun for Twin Suns, in my opinion, comes into play. The biggest change from the normal constructed deck building is the fact that your deck must include 2 leaders instead of 1. It's called Twin Suns for a reason, after all. These leaders must share either the heroism or villainy aspect, but aside from that, it can be any 2 leaders you want. Each leader provides their deck building aspects to your deck, granting you access to a wider range of cards than what a normal single leader would provide. You deploy each leader one at a time through their epic actions as normal, but if you manage to get both of them on the field at once, you could sway the whole battle in your favor. You still only include 1 base in your Twin Suns deck, and your draw deck must be a minimum of 50 cards as normal, though this minimum will increase to 80 cards after the release of the game's 4th set, so it gives you time to build a collection so you can make better Twin Suns decks. However, unlike the Premier format, your deck cannot include more than 1 copy of any card, so that means that this is a singleton format. You cannot run 3 Overwhelming Barrages, you can only run 1 Overwhelming Barrage. This applies to leaders, units, events, and upgrades, which means you'll need to take advantage of the extra aspect provided by your second leader in order to fill your deck with a wide variety of options. Twin Suns is a very interesting format that does multiple different things that allows you to have a larger experience within Star Wars Unlimited, not just with other players, but within what you're playing yourself. So if you really wanted to play, let's say Command Aggression, and that's all you wanted, you could play Leia, you could play Sabine, and then you could play either a command base or an aggression base, depending on which aspect you want to double up on. Let's say you want to do something different. Let's say you wanted to run Hera and Sabine, but you really wanted to make sure you had the ability to run some cunning events. So you run the Administrator's Tower or Chopper Base. Let's say you run the Chopper Base, giving you access to cunning. That means in terms of aspects that reduce your penalties, you have 1 command, 1 aggression, 1 cunning, and 2 heroism, but that doesn't matter. There's no 2 heroism cards. So you can, without having to worry about any of the other stuff, unless you are taking double single aspect cards, you don't have to pay aspect penalty on any of those individually. And that gives you a large swath of cards that you can play. Hera reduces the out of aspect penalty for your vigilance cards, the Ghost and Kanan if you're running the specific deck. And then Sabine allows you to just continue to poke and damage and do a bunch of different stuff with bases. And that's a fairly interesting strategy. And then Cunning opens you up to some of the better events that can control the board, but also deal pressure with attacks and so on and so forth. Having your deck be singleton, which means 1 copy of each individual card, means your deck is going to be less consistent, but you have open space to run more cards that you probably wouldn't otherwise in a Premier deck. So Twin Suns is a very interesting format, and I think it's going to be really cool. I've already seen a lot of people really high on that from the Celebration event who basically opened all their packs the second they could so they could try to build a Twin Suns deck and play against some other people. I know that I believe it was Leo from JodoCast, Banana Crapshoot from Saga, Main Deck Dan, and Nelson from Nelson All Over Cards did a big 4-player Twin Suns game the night of after we had finished the party and stuff like that. And I think that was really cool to see them just get together and get ready to go and just go ham on it. And it was really cool. I'm excited to play some Twin Suns myself, but I do need a bigger collection of cards in order to be able to do so. I definitely could with the cards that I have that are available to me, but I definitely want more options than I would have had otherwise. And obviously, as Set 2 comes out, Shadows of the Galaxy, as Set 3 comes out, Twilight of the Republic, we're going to get more cards, more options, more deck builds. And then when Set 4, which we don't know the name of it, comes out in March of 2025, if they stay consistent with the release dates, then we will have 80 cards that we can fit into these Twin Suns decks. And that really does push it into the echelon of a high-level deck build puzzle, like a lot of Commander games are, in terms of figuring out what the best way to be able to do things. But games are going to be a lot quicker than Commander, given that one player gets knocked out at the end of that phase, the game is done, highest HP base wins. So I think politicking is actually going to be a lot more important in this than it is in Commander, just because Commander, you're more protecting yourself, whereas here you're kind of having to protect other people, so that way you have the ability to win at the end. But it is interesting. A lot of cool things come out of Twin Suns. It's a format that I think a lot of people are going to enjoy once they get their fill in of regular constructed and other things. I think one of the most interesting aspects, and I did suggest this in the main community Discord, a sealed box Twin Suns event, where basically you buy a box, you open everything, you build a Twin Suns deck out of that, and then you go play against a bunch of other people. It doesn't have to be a tournament. It could just be a pay in for the box, have some fun, play some multiplayer games with a bunch of people around. Could just be 4 people say, let's go buy boxes, open all this crap up and go, right? It's like a super sealed, but instead of it just being 6 packs, it's all the packs. So fantastic. I'm looking forward to more Twin Suns. So speaking of the February 10th community celebration that we had with FFG out in their neighborhood. I live in their neighborhood, so it was very close to me. A lot of creators were brought out to Wisdom Gaming out in the Mall of America, which is an amazing space, really cool area that they have there. Mall of America is actually really cool in general, but the place specifically we were at was really cool. It's the esports home to the T-Wolves, which is an esports team that is actually owned by the Minnesota Timberwolves, which is pretty cool. The night before, we had a nice dinner with a bunch of people. The people in my immediate area were Nelson from Nelson All Over Cards. I had Matt from comicbook.com. To my right was Banana Crapshoot from Saga. We had the JodoCast boys that were catty corner across from me. I believe it was Leo, Kurt, Evan, and Joe. And then on Banana Crapshoot's right was Main Deck Dan. He is a very interesting individual. You should go check out his content. He's a cool how to play video for Star Wars Unlimited. One of the first, I believe, that wasn't just a complete rip of the quick start rules. I had a long conversation about Altered with 2 Drink Main Deck Dan, which is a treasure to have experienced. And we had a bunch of really cool conversations. It was some really good meals. The developers were sitting at various different tables. If you haven't checked it out, the Impossible German Jason from the GarbageRollers did a article about a conversation he had with Jim Cartwright, which is an absolutely amazing article, one of the most well-written articles in the Star Wars Unlimited community, and it goes over a lot of really cool things that you all should definitely read, so I'll link to that in the description below. But ultimately, the night was cool there. We did get to talk with Josh Massey a little bit, who came towards us towards the end of the night. We also talked with Serena Marie, I believe her last name was. I'm gonna get murdered if that's not correct. It is correct. She was it doesn't say here what her title was, unfortunately. She was one of the communications managers for Asmodee, if I remember correctly. I apologize, Serena, if I got your title incorrect. You were an amazing presence at both the dinner and the Wisdom Gaming, so I'm completely underselling everything about you. You were fantastic. Great to talk to. Very fun conversations as well. She was fun. She came through. Josh was fun. He came through, talked with us, showed us a bunch of the hyperfoils that he had from their boxes, the employee boxes that they had all purchased for themselves. I had a quick small conversation with Jim that night. I had a small conversation with Jim the next day, which was fun. Had a small conversation with Xander, which was cool. Lots of fun people at the dinner. Very nice dinner at a very nice place in the Radisson Hotel that's there over by Mall of America. The event started off, all of us gathered out in front. We said hi. There's a picture of, I took a picture of me pointing towards all of the people that were there. So if I do this right, that image should be here. And if not, it's because I was lazy. We were all there. There was, I believe, 46 total people there were brought in. Only 2 of us local. That would be myself and then DOA from Ice Cave Radio. And although he is moving, that was interesting seeing everybody else being brought in and checking out what we had available. We were talked to at the front desk by Peter, who does the write-ups for StarWarsUnlimited.com, and then Alicia, whose title I forgot, but she had an amazing hairstyle. She's both of them awesome people. We were handed a bag, which actually, this was the bag. So Star Wars Unlimited, a trading card game of unlimited possibilities that had a mat, which you've all seen before. It's the It Binds All Things mat. It had a package of the GameGenic tokens. It had a specific special initiative token. It had the soft crate box token holder. It had the starter deck. It had 4 packs of GameGenic sleeves, all the ones that they're going to have available at the start. So the Luke, the Vader sleeves, which you've seen on a previous video, the blue Star Wars Unlimited sleeves, and the red Star Wars Unlimited sleeves, which are amazing. It also came with this lovely deck pod, which is got the Star Wars Unlimited branding on it. So you can see there, it's got the heroism thing. Something I talked about earlier, but I will mention here as well. It comes with this clear case, the GameGenic slide case. It comes with one, so you don't even need to buy one. You can just use the one that comes with the crate. And then obviously, as they showcase, it's got your space for your base. It's got your space for your deck. These are the sleeves, best ones. It says Star Wars Unlimited right in the bottom of it. And then it's got the space for the tokens. The tokens are not in here right now. GameGenic Unlimited potential, I think is what their tagline is. That could be completely wrong. They're in the soft crate because I'm going to use those for another date, the pre-release, which is coming up very soon. This thing is amazing. I'm buying the double deck pod for the Luke and Vader decks to put in there. Right now, they're in their little soft deck boxes that come in the starter. And those are actually pretty neat too. But I'm going to I'll probably stick my main deck in this, and then maybe buy one more of these, and then definitely the duo crate pod. So that was fun. We got, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we got. We got the mat, we got the pod, got the starter deck. We got a full booster box of Star Wars Unlimited. So you've seen all those pulls except for whatever I would have gotten in draft, because that'll be on Friday. And that was fun. We were all told to open 6 packs so we could do something. I believe, I'm pretty sure it was Sugi from TCG Cast opened the first showcase at the location. Literally the first pack, opened it up, cracked it open. It was a Krennic immediately, which was insane. So far as we know, out of the amount of boxes that were opened, there have been only 2 showcases pulled. That Krennic and then the Emperor Palpatine, that was like a minute and a half later, somebody opened that as part of their sealed pack. The fact that those were opened as part of the sealed in the very beginning of the event was pretty incredible. So we built up our stuff. I played my games with Matt from comic.com. We did all that. We got brought up to lunch. I talked a little bit with Colin, who was a game designer for Star Wars Unlimited. They were a fun person to talk to. Got to talk to Corey. Corey is the organized play administrator. I can't remember the exact title. So many people, so many titles. I apologize to everybody involved if I forgot your titles or what you actually do. You're all amazing. Don't let me undercut you. Corey was cool. We talked about a bunch of stuff. Got to talk to DOA. Actually, literally nothing about Star Wars, more about both of our histories and what we do. So it was really fun to talk to him. 1/3 of the Ice Cave radio crew down. But we finished lunch. We went back downstairs. Josh ripped me, told me to come do draft. I was ready to go do draft after using the bathroom, and then got sat down with John Leo, myself, Josh Massey, Tom from Mystic Cast, Team Mystic, something like that. Misfits, TCG Misfits, something like that. And then Charmer and DOA were at the end of the table, and we all drafted. That was super fun. Got to play my 2 games with John Leo from Star Wars Unlimited /FFG. That video is coming down later. And then we all kind of meandered around a little bit, talked, did some stuff. We got basically thrown out at 5 o'clock after the end of the stream. We were shown the image of the 2 new leaders that are going to be in the starter sets for set 2, which is, of course, Mando and Moff Gideon. So that was fun. Super exciting for that. I had technically called that like an hour before we were talking about the starter sets, but I'm not going to go on record and say I was the person that called it. Ha ha ha. Anyway, that was super fun. We all got kicked out. A bunch of people wandered in a couple different areas. I managed to go grab myself a drink, put my stuff in the car, and then we went to the party that was, again, at Wisdom Gaming once they changed everything up. And that was super fun. They had some cool drinks. I managed to get the Vigilance, which was a non-alcoholic drink. Josh had that as well. Walked around, talked with a bunch of different people, had some really cool conversations, had some cool conversations with Kurt and Evan from JonoCast, and Joe had some fun conversations with Gandork and Nelson and DOA again. DOA had a really nice white and gold like studded jacket, which showed off really nice in the light. Talked with Jack a little bit from Golden Dice. Got the talk with Justin again from GarbageRollers. Actually finally met Tyler from GarbageRollers. So good to meet you, DJ. All around, it was a super fun event. I did not get as many interviews. I didn't get any interviews, honestly. as a lot of other people did. So if you're looking for interview content from the developers of the game or people with the company, there's a lot of other sources. Like I said, Jason's article with Jim Cartwright, you know, is out there. One thing I will touch on is that I've been doing content creation, content production on YouTube, on Twitch, on various different platforms for about 12 years now. Since March 2012, my first video on the internet was literally a duo play of Terraria with a good friend of mine, Night of Ninja. Video lost to time. It's hard to go through the ups and downs that I have had in this career and still be sane afterwards. This type of event is exactly what I needed to like really make me realize that I'm kind of where I should be and that I shouldn't necessarily give up at least this aspect of it as easily as I was going to prior to this event. Having the conversation with Jim Cartwright about, you know, because I was in the space I was at, I had been producing the content that I had been producing. You know, I was one of the people that they had really looked at early on to come in and be a part of this event. And like that makes my heart warm. That fulfills me. It gives me a burst of, you know, success and energy to keep going, to be like, you know, this is worth it. It was one thing when I got a preview and I got to talk to Josh and I got to talk to Xander, which again, thank you very much for that. If that had all I'd ever been given, that would have been fine, because at least there would have been some acknowledgement from the company for what I was doing. But to be brought out and participate in this event and, you know, get to be able to rub elbows with some people that, you know, make some great games and, you know, have actually seen my content and know me as the guy who does the face on my thumbnails, that type of thing, right? New meme right there, by the way. That is something special to me, to have that level of recognition after kind of being ignored by groups of people that I've helped bring up over the years and have been thrown to the wayside as they get more successful. Other individuals who never took what I did seriously. So thank you very much, FFG and Asmodee and anybody else that was involved in bringing me to this event. I very much appreciate everything that y'all have done for all of us. Again, the game hasn't even come out yet as of recording of this video, as of the release of this video. But you brought us all out there to celebrate this game, and we all appreciate that immensely. And we know what that means for the future of the game, which I believe is bright. And all the things that they talked about, these are real people making a real game, making a real effort to change their own fate, change their own future, to get away from the old busted processes of the old FFG to this new standard of what FFG is trying to get done now. And I think this is going to work. I think if people give this game an opportunity, which there's going to be a whole swath of people that miss out the first set and are not gonna partake because they're worried about old FFG, and they're gonna regret it once it comes time to get in. And, you know, not necessarily it'll be hard to find the set one product, because I doubt it will be, but they're gonna have missed out an opportunity to get in on the ground floor and be able to say, hey, I was one of the people that was here when the game launched. Because us content producers that have been here since May of 2023, we get to say we were here, you know, before day one. We were here day negative 340, right? Or 290, whatever. We were here on the ground floor trying to build up a community, try to build up a news network, try to build up an information relay source of places to go and things to do to talk about for this game. And obviously content coming out after the game's release is going to be different, at least until it comes to preview season. But we're going to be building and working and playing and having fun with people. And I hope as many other people out there that are going to experience this can experience this with us. And I know this is a super long video as it is, because we talked about multiplayer content. Now we're talking about this, but I am excited for the future of Star Wars Unlimited, and I hope you are too. And with that being said, that's all there is. That's all she wrote this week, or today, not this week, on Star Wars Unlimited. Remember, Friday, 2 gameplay segments in one video. Me versus John Leo round 1, me versus John Leo round 2. I won't give you any spoilers. The first game's not pretty. Second game, I learned a lot, though. Anyway, that's all she wrote this week. Remember to like and comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on all the lovely social medias at RybackStun and on Twitch. That would really help me. I do try to stream every once in a while. I haven't streamed the last week or so because I've been sick, also because I've been working on videos and lots of other things. So thank you for joining me, folks. We'll see you Friday, and then we'll see you next week for another video in Star Wars Unlimited. And with that, I will see you in the stars.